Hello students, this is your SBR trainer Mustafa Mirchawala from Mirchawala's Hub of Accountancy. Let me introduce myself. I have been teaching for last almost 17 years and my primary papers are F6 TX, F7 financial reporting and SBR, and I also teach ICAEW corporate reporting, right? Okay, and I'm also IFRS trainer. I do corporate training with different multinational and different organizations, right? Okay, now the objective of today's class to discuss the paper format, the orientation of SBR paper, right? Okay, as you all know that the previous version of SBR was P2 paper was the previous paper before few years back, and then ACCA changed it to SBR, strategic business reporting, right? Okay, now first of all, the first good news is that the average pass rate of this paper is 50 to 55%, 50 to 55%, which is the highest among the all professional papers. It's very good, right? 50% plus passing rate is very good. So don't worry about the pass. If you follow the instruction, whatever is given to you, you can easily clear it, right? Okay. Now, what's the paper format? The total paper is 100 marks paper, and there are two sections in this paper. The first section is section A. In section A you have two questions. The first one is consolidation plus IFRS. Consolidation plus IFRS. Now this is not like F7 paper. This in F7, when you do consolidation, you purely do consolidation. The consolidation question consists of pure consolidation. But at SBR level, in consolidation question, they also give you some IFRS thing. Okay. Now, previously, when it was a P2 paper, P2 exam, you were given complete 35 marks consolidation practical question. But now after this change, this paper relates to theory. Normally they give theory. So first of all, they won't be testing complete statements like complete income statement, like complete consolidated SOFP, complete consolidated cash flow. They don't require you to prepare complete statements. Instead, now they ask you to discuss goodwill, they ask you to discuss fair value of NCI, they ask you to discuss different treatment, right? Okay, so in question number 1 you have consolidation plus IFRS. In question number 2 they ask you question related to ethics plus ISIFRS. Now always remember, there is a difference between SBR level ethics and SBL level ethics. SBL, there is one more paper in your course. There is a big difference. In SBL level ethics, they normally ask general issues like issues, ethical issues related to environment. That means you are creating pollution, your factory is creating pollution, and you are destroying the environment. So they may ask the general cases as well. But in SBR level, listen my words, they say first there will be an accounting issue and then there will be an ethical issue. Means ethics connected to accounting. Listen again. First there will be an accounting issue and then there will be an ethical issue. For example, giving you few examples. For example, you need to calculate the fair value. You are required to calculate the fair value. So in the fair value calculation, the real fair value is, let us say the real fair value of asset is $1 million. But you started doing manipulation and you calculated the fair value to be $1.5 million. The real fair value was 1 million, but you have calculated 1.5 million. So why? Because now the asset will go up. So your company will look more rich company. So this is an ethical issue related to accounting. Giving you one more example. Listen. Let us say your company, you are doing job in a company, and your company has applied for a loan from a bank. Okay, so you all know this, you have studied the financial management paper. Before giving loan, bank sometimes may ask future cash flows projection. Means bank sometimes ask how will you repay the loan, how you are going to repay the loan. So now what you did, your senior just asked you to generate, to make artificial artificial fake future cash flows, artificial fake future cash flows, and you made fake future cash flows, artificially overstated future cash flows. So now this is unethical. So see, first there is an accounting issue, then there will be an ethical issue. Similarly, giving you one more example, I hope you remember you have studied IS 36, IS 36 impairment in your past studies. So, whenever you get the hint of impairment, whenever you get the hint of impairment, you compute recoverable amount. And how recoverable amount is calculated? Recoverable amount is calculated using present values of, recoverable amount is the higher of fair value less cost to sell and value in use. Fair value less cost to sell and value in use. Now the question is, how do we calculate value in use? We calculate value in use by calculating present value of future cash flows, by calculating present value of future cash flows. And in calculating value in use, there are many companies who do manipulation. They sometimes artificially overstate the future cash flows, future inflows, so that they can get a big value in use. And when there will be a big value in use, there will be a big recoverable amount, so that they can avoid impairment, right? Okay, so this is also unethical. So in SBR level ethics, first there will be an accounting issue, and then there will be an ethical issue, right? Okay, but believe me, these ethics marks are pure, these are pure cash marks. Normally the ethics requirement is of 8 to 9 marks, and these are very cash marks. There is a little bit training, which if you take that training, you can easily write that ethics point of view, right? Okay, now let me discuss the consolidation area of this, that which sort of consolidation is present in SBR exam, because the previous paper you guys did is FR paper. First of all, do remember that this paper contains 80 to 85% theory. It's a theory paper. In the past exams, in the recent past exams, students have given feedback that just for 15 marks they have to use the calculator. Just for 15 marks they have to use the calculator. They have to use the calculator just for 15 marks. Just for 15 marks they need to use the calculator, right? Okay, so that means the remaining 85% paper is theory. Okay, now let me tell you what's the consolidation here. First of all, the teacher will make you revise all the basics of consolidation, what you have studied in previous F7 FR paper. All P2S sale, S2P sale, P2S sale of inventory, P2S sale of fixed asset, everything, right? Goodwill calculation, different types of consideration and all. Then there is an area here which we call it step acquisition. Step acquisition. What is it? Step acquisition means, listen, for example, you have 10% shares of a company. You have 10%, you already have 10% shares of a company. 10% means you don't have control and you don't have significant influence even, right? So now from 10% you bought 20% more shares, you came to 30%. So 10% means you don't have control, you don't have significant influence. So this 10% is called trade investment, and this 30% is called associate. So this is the first case, that previously that investment was just trade investment for you, and now you bought 20% more shares, it's associate for you. So yes, this is the part of your course. Then sometime it happens you have 10% shares and you bought 50% more shares, so now you are at 60%. So this is called trade investment to subsidiary, because as you have crossed the border, as you have just crossed the border of 50%, so now you have control, right? Then there is one more case. 30%, you were already at 30% and now you bought 40% more shares, so you got 70%. So this is called A to S. A to S means 30% means that organization was just associate for you, and now you bought more shares, so you got control. Then there is a case which we call 60 to 80. 60 to 80. 60% means already that organization was subsidiary for you, and now still you have control. All 60% means already you had control. You bought 20% more shares, you got 80%, but now again you have control. So this setup is called sub to sub, sub to sub. Okay, that means no change in control, no change. Previously you already had control, and now still you have the control. Okay, so these all cases are included in your SBR level step acquisition. That means you are going forward, you are buying more shares, you are buying more shares, and you are getting more ownership in that company. Okay, now there is one more area which is included here, and that is step acquisition, sorry, that is disposal. Disposal is just what the reverse of a step acquisition. Even in your FR previous studies, you have studied disposal. You have studied disposal. And but in F7 level, in FR level, you studied one shot disposal. For example, you have 80% holding of a company, you have 80% of holding of a company, and you sold it. You sold it in one go. You sold it in one go. One go, you sold it, right? Okay, and you from 80% you came to disposal, you came to zero. So the first case is 80% to zero, right? This is called one shot disposal. That means you have sold the running business of S company in one shot. The second case is S to A. S to A. What is S to A? You already had 80% shares, and you sold, let us say, 50%. So now you are at 30%. So previously this organization was subsidiary for you, and now it's just associate for you. Now there is one more case. S to I. I means trade investment. I means trade investment. Previously you had 80% shares, and you sold 70% of them, so you are at 10% now, right? There is one more case, students, and that is what A to I. A to I. A to I means you already had 30% and you sold 20%, so you are now at 10%. So associate to trade investment. And one more case, which is the favorite of examiners, sub to sub. Sub to sub. Previously you had, sorry, previously you had 80% and now you sold 20%, so you are at 60%. You are at 60%. You are at 60%, right? Okay, so this is one of the two areas which we normally teach together: step acquisition, and the opposite of step acquisition is disposal, right? Okay, then then you have one area which we call it consolidated SOCI. Yes, consolidated SOCI, and this is linked to step acquisition and disposal, SOCI. In your FR level you have also done this, but here it is a little bit advanced, right? Then a very interesting area, which we call it consolidated cash flow. Consolidated cash flow, very interesting plus very challenging area. Now what is consolidated cash flow? Previously in your FR paper and FA paper, you used to make cash flow, statement of cash flow for one single company. You used to make a statement of cash flow for one single company, but now you are going to make a cash statement of cash flow for the whole group. You are going to make a statement of cash flow for the whole group of companies, for the whole group of companies. Okay, so first of all, teacher will announce one thing, that for now, for making this statement of cash flow, think like a group, think like a group. Each and every transaction, think like a group. Listen, for example, this is your P company and this is S company. Now parent company has 70% shares in S company, so that means NCI NCI has 30% shares. Okay. So remember when you were kids, when you guys used to do the consolidated SOFP and everything, so your teachers, your trainers used to tell you that always, all before doing consolidation, before doing consolidation, treat this complete group as a single entity. Treat this complete group as a single entity. So now I'm saying, for the purpose of cash flow, for the purpose of cash flow, treat this complete group, this circle, see the circle, as a single unit, right? Okay, giving you one example. Let us say S company has given total ordinary dividends or dividends of 10,000. S company has just given total dividends of 10,000. Listen, whenever any company gives dividends, it gives dividend to its shareholders according to the holding percentage. So now out of these 10,000, 7,000 dividends will go to P company, because we all know P company is the biggest. P company is the biggest shareholder of S company. So out of this 10,000, 7,000 will go to P company and 3,000 will go to NCI. Now, my dear students, just think over it. From the group point of view, group means this circle, group means this circle. How much cash went out of this group? How much cash went out of this group? Only this 3,000. Only this 3,000, this 3,000. So this 3,000 is the real cash flow. This 3,000 is the real cash flow. The remaining 7,000 is just shifting of pockets. Within the same body, we are shifting from one pocket to another pocket. Within this 7,000 is the within the group movement. So it's not a real cash flow. It's not the real cash flow from group point of view. Okay. So for making this cash flow, you have to think like a group. You have to think like a group. Now, giving you one example, listen. All trainers give this example to their students. In 2010, examiner tested this concept in a different way. Examiner tested this concept in a very different way. We all taught this to our students. Listen, you know, examiner gave this example. Listen, you guys heard about the right issue. Right issue, right issue is a cash issue. Right issue is a cash issue, and right issue is always given to existing shareholders. Right issue is always given to existing shareholders. So for example, S company did a right issue. S company S company did a right issue to all its shareholders, and S company has generated $5 million. S company has generated total cash from their shareholders $5 million. Now just think, who are the shareholders of S company? Who are the shareholders? There are two major shareholders, P company and NCI. So they have generated $5 million. So out of this $5 million, 70% of 5 million, that is 3.5 million, must have come from parent company. So 3.5 million must have come from P company, and the remaining 5 million times 30%. 5 million times 30%, remaining 30% will be arranged by the 5 million times 30% is 1.5 million, arranged by NCI. Now you use your brain. From the group point of view, how much additional real cash S company has generated? How much real cash group has generated? Only this 1.5 million. Only this for 1.5 million has entered the group. Okay, remaining 3.5 million is inside transaction. Okay, so we will ignore. And in the financing activities of statement of cash flow of the group cash flow statement, we'll only write 1.5 million. So that's how they test the concept. Giving you one more example. Of buying a subsidiary. Listen, whatever cash flows you need to write in the group statement of cash flows, that cash flows must be relevant from the group point of view. Now, giving you very good example. Listen, for example, I have already have P company. P company already P company already has S1 and S2 at the beginning of the year. P company already had two subsidiaries at the beginning of the year, S1 and S2. Now P company is buying S3. Now P company is buying S3. P company is buying S3, right? Okay. So P company is buying the running. P company is buying the running business of S3. P company is buying the running business of S3. Listen, for example, peak, whenever you buy a running business, you have to pay a price to the existing shareholders of S company. Whenever you buy a running business, a subsidiary company, you have to pay a price. So for example, P company paid $50 million, $50 million to acquire this new subsidiary, right? So just think, P company just paid $50 million to acquire this new company. But whenever you acquire the company, that company comes and just we do adding together with this subsidiary. We just that, that company just come to you, and we just do adding together with that subsidiary, so in the question it is written that $5 million is already $5 million cash. $5 million cash is already present in that subsidiary balance sheet. So just think, we paid $50 million, to acquire that subsidiary, and when you get that subsidiary, already 5 million is present inside that company. So now can you tell me what is the net cash outflow? What is the net cash outflow from the group point of view? The net cash outflow is only 45 million. Think over it. You paid 50, but in return, already inside the company, $5 million is present. So the net cash outflow from the group point of view is only 45. You're not getting. Wait, giving you one example. See this. Can you see this water bottle? Look at the screen. Can you see this water bottle? Let us say I just bought this water bottle. I just bought this water bottle for $50. I just bought this water bottle for $50. So I paid $50. But when I bought it, and when I opened this cap, I just found $5 inside. $5 is inside. So $5 is inside, and I paid $50. So that means the net cost, net cash outflow for me is only $45. Okay. So this is very interesting area, and for this area, you need to think from group point of view. Just think over it. Giving you 30 seconds. Now, one more area of consolidation, and very big area. This is consolidated foreign subsidiary. This is consolidated foreign subsidiary. What is this? Previously in your FR level, you did IS 21, you did the first episode, you did the first episode of IS 21, very basic thing. You did the monetary and non-monetary things for in your previous F7 level. That for example, you are in United States, or you are in UK, your functional currency is pound, but you have just one customer in United States, and you did credit sales in United States in dollars. So your functional currency is pounds, but you have a receivable in dollars. So just one asset in any other country, any other currency, sorry, right? So previously you did the accounting treatment for all this. But now listen, now what's in this SBR level, what's the scenario is, that you are a parent company located in UK, you are in UK, and you have a subsidiary in United States, you have a subsidiary in India, you have a subsidiary in Vietnam, you have a subsidiary in Bangladesh, right? So that means parent company is in a different country, subsidiary company is a different country. So now parent company's financial statement is in dollars, for example, but subsidiary company's financial statement is in dinars or pounds or euros or any other currency. So now it's very difficult to do consolidation adding together. So there are a lot of rules related to this, that how to do consolidation for this foreign subsidiary, how to do consolidation for this foreign subsidiary, how to do consolidation for this foreign subsidiary, right? Okay. Then you have, finally you have consolidation theory. There are two theoretical standards for consolidation, and you have, one is IFRS 10, and the second is IFRS 3 business combination. One is IFRS 10 and the second is IFRS 3 business combination, right? So that's all is your consolidation. That's all is your consolidation. Now, so this again, I'm on the paper format slide. So you have 100 marks paper. In the section A, you have question number one, consolidation plus IFRS discussion. Question number two, ethics plus IFRS discussion. The total marks are normally 50 marks, but that's the examiner wish. They sometimes split this 50 into 20, 30. They sometimes do it like that, 30, 20, sometimes 25, 25, 27, 23. But the total of these two will be 50 marks, right? Okay. Now then, in section B, you will have question number 3. Section B question, you will get theoretical question of IFRS plus some generalized topic like management commentary, like accounting framework. Okay. So these are theoretical areas, and these are more challenging as compared to section A. Section B is always more challenging, right? Okay. And in question number 4, again IFRS discussion. With this area I will discuss, this is a new area, additional performance measurement, right? So you will have total 50 marks discussion, sorry, total 100 marks discussion in this paper. There is no choice at all, there is no choice at all, right? And 80-85% paper is theory. Now let me elaborate these things. Do remember this thing, this paper is not a paper of number crunching. This paper is not a paper of number crunching. This is not a number crunching paper at all. It's about communicating business performance to investors, explaining business models to investors, right? Okay. Listen, you know, this is the specialty of your ACCA body, that they adopt the change of the world. Whatever change is coming in this world, they adopt it, right? So now if you work practically, even you guys are working practically, you know this, when you work practically, you know that now normally all accounting is done on softwares. Everything is done by software, so you don't need to make SOFP, you don't need to make income say, this is done by software. So what's your role as an accountant? What's your role? You have to explain, you have to explain all these transactions to investors. That means you have to prepare some notes and you have to explain to investors. So that's your role. That's why we are communicators now. And the name of this paper is strategic business reporting. You need to report, you need to report your business to investors, you need to report the business model to the investors, right? Okay. Now then, a routine question may come, a routine question may come related to investors. Yes, this is the part of your course. They normally assign one question to how to guide your investors. They give you certain transaction of IS 12, deferred tax, sometimes financial instruments, sometimes IS 38, and then they tell you that to communicate to investors, explain the effects of such transactions to investors. Now, one more thing which is the permanent part of your SBR is current issue. may come in any question now, but not a complete question. What is current issue? What is current issue? First, try to understand the current issue thing. Listen, there are certain IAS IFRS which have already been launched by International Accounting Standard Board. They are part of your course, right? But there are certain standards which are going to be launched in near future, so they are in the exposure draft form, or they are on the initial discussion paper form. So your examiner may ask that new accounting standard which has not been launched in the world yet, which has not been applied in this world yet, right? So the first thing, they may ask the exposure draft. The second thing is, in the current issue area, they may ask the criticism on different accounting standard. They may ask criticism on different accounting standards. You know, these accounting standards are made by human beings. These all accounting standard made by human beings. So there are standards in which still they have defects, they have some criticism. So for that listen, for those criticism, may examiner may ask. Okay, now previously when it was a P2 paper, they used to test a 25 marks question, 25 marks question on current issue. But yes, at that time there was a choice, so normally students used to skip that current issue in the choice, right? But now there is no choice, and now the current issue weightage is 8 to 10 marks. The current issue weightage is 8 to 10 marks. Current issue weightage is 8 to 10 marks. Current issue weightage is 8 to 10 marks, right? Okay, now the question is, students may ask sometimes, "Sir, from where we can study current issue?" Let me tell you some sources. The first source is, read the criticism of different standard. It's written in your study text in your books. Number two, the best way to deal current issue is examiner articles. Examiner articles on accaglobal.com. Believe me, the markers have given lot of help in this SBR paper. There are many articles on the ACCAglobal.com, and I always recommend my students to at least spare 4 to 5 days in the end for reading those articles. Normally you get 25% paper from the articles, right? Okay, so read all the latest articles, so you can easily work on current issue. You can easily work on current issue, right? And one more area which is extra thing, normally sometimes it's not effective, that for current issue you go to different websites of Deloitte, big four website, big four audit firms, KPMG and all, and you read the exposure draft, right? But that's what very hectic job. But don't worry, we normally, when I teach many exposure drafts. I conduct special sessions for current issue, so don't worry about it, and that's not your headache. We'll do it for you. Okay. Now, this is a new area in your course, additional performance. This is additional performance measurement, APM. The name of this area is APM. This area was not part of previous P2 paper, but now, yes, this is an SBR exam. Now, what is this area is all about? Listen, read this. We all studied those ratios which are famous in the world, like return on capital employed, GP margin, EPS. These are the famous ratios which is already we all have studied. And but there is an issue that these ratios does not fit on each and every company's requirement. Listen, the objective of financial statement to report the performance information to users, which are relevant for them, Now, just think, do you think each and every organizations, for each and all organizations, the financial ratios are enough for to 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 give the true and fair picture of the organization, to give the true and fair picture performance of the activities of the company? Just these financial ratios are enough? No. We need we need to show some flexibility. There is a possibility, giving you one example, it came in past paper as well. There is an organization which is highly dependent on employees, highly dependent, the whole business is dependent on employees. So now for this organization, labor turnover is very important. For this organization labor turnover is very important. So yes, for this purpose, International Accounting Standard Board has allowed you to adopt some new ratios which you think, your organization think relevant, which your organization think is relevant. Okay, so you can use your make your own ratios. Listen, but those ratios does not cover requirement for each and every company. That's why additional ratios may be used, but there are lot of problems in it. Listen, let me tell you, standard board is allowed. Okay, you can use your some new ratios according to the needs of your organization, because the previous ratios like EPS, GP margin, return on capital employed, return on equity, not suitable for your organization, or they don't meet all the needs of your organization. So you are allowed with additional, see the name, additional performance indicators, additional performance measurement. You are allowed to use additional ratios, but there are some problems. What are the problems? When you are allowed to use the additional ratios, you will only use those ratios which are good for your organization. Those ratios which are coming good in your calculation, which can show good picture of your organization. So you will hide all those ratios which shows the bad performance of your organization, and they only report those ratios which shows good performance of your organization. So just think, when they have allowed you to make your own ratios, so you may do manipulation in it, right? Means you can change those ratios whenever you want without any notice. And when you will report new ratios with your own wish, so that means the public does not know about this. So it may be difficult for people to understand, to interpret those ratios, right? So there are many problems connected to this APM, which is discussed in that topic, right? And this is examinable topic, this is a new topic. Now there are some points, some techniques, some exam techniques for you, and this is all written on accaglobal.com. Number one, SBR examiner thinks about your skills at workplace. See, this is not skills level paper. This is not basic paper. This is a strategic paper. So they want you to respond professionally. They want you to respond like you are at the workplace, right? Okay, it's beyond technical knowledge, because now a lot of technical work done by softwares and robotics. As I told you, now everything is done by softwares. So they really need your professional skills. They need to polish your professional skills. Normally in SBR, normally in one question, one part, you can expect application of more than one standard. Yes, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of your paper, that in one paragraph, in one question, one section, you will be tested 3 to 4 standards together. You will be tested 3 to 4 standards together. For example, you are going to sell inventory. You are going to sell inventory on credit to a customer, right? So how many standards may apply here? Number one, the revenue, sales revenue. You have to book revenue. So IFRS 15 is here. IFRS 15 is here, right? Okay. Now, as you are selling the inventory, so there are some issues related to the cost of inventory. IS2 may be examined on the same part. Yes. Third standard. For example, there is some transaction which is related to year end, after the year end. For example, you sold goods before the year end and you are getting money after the year end, or you sold goods before the year end on conditional revenue, conditional things, right? So IS10, events after the reporting period, may apply. So in one question now here, you will be tested 2 3 4 accounting standards. That's the beauty. So you have to respond accordingly. No, 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 no. Listen, very interesting thing. You know, this is the standard of ACCA that whatever is happening in the current world, they test it. For example, just think nowadays, if you see the top 10 companies of the world, the top 10 giants of the world are technological giants, IT related companies, right? Okay, so in IT related companies, normally they apply intangible assets. Intangible asset is very common, right? So you may expect a question of intangible asset, and yes, if you see last 2 3 4 attempts, intangible asset they asked a lot. They asked a lot. Just think, world is moving towards digitalization. You can see top 10 companies in the world are technology based, so expectation of manufacturing company question is less likely. And for technology company, intangible asset is 38, research and development, brands, customer relationship, software, human capital, these things are very common. These things are very very common. These things are very very common nowadays, right? One more thing I tell you, in the COVID era, in the recent COVID era, if you did you observe in 2020, in the 2020, in the COVID era, everything got locked down, the life got stopped, but online things were working, technological things were working. Zoom is going, Zoom software showed the peak performance. You can see the US stock exchange and all technological stocks went on their record high, right? So in the COVID era, you can expect question of IS 38. One more thing, in the COVID era, when it was all locked down, so this is one of the hint of impairment. This is one of the hint of impairment. So you may expect a question. You may expect a question on impairment. You may expect a question on impairment, right? Yes. Now, and you have also seen in the last year the cryptocurrency. It was the boom in this COVID era. Bitcoin also got boom. Bitcoin touched record high. So the cryptocurrency question may come. And yes, there is an article of regarding cryptocurrency on your accaglobal.com as well. So nowadays examiner is testing this area as well. It's getting famous now. Now, one more. Just think, you know, you I expect that you know this thing related to IS8. For example, in your company you are doing something and you got a new transaction in your company. IFRS is applied, and just today you got a new transaction. So how will you record that transaction? Now the first step, listen. First of all, you'll open the IFRS book, and if there is a direct solution of that transaction in IFRS book, you'll apply. If there is an accounting standard dealing with that transaction, you just apply that accounting treatment, right? But if there is no direct IFRS for that transaction, then what are the steps? Then what you will do, you will find the similar treatment. You will find is whether is there any similar treatment like this transaction in any accounting standard. If yes, if there is a similar treatment, copy it, follow it. And when there is no similar treatment, even then you should go for framework. Okay. So this thing you must know. In your question, sometimes they give you some technical transaction on which there is no IFRS, direct IFRS. So you have to write this approach. Read it. If there is no IFRS on an issue, don't just see this. Don't just write that there is no IFRS which deals with the issue. Go for IS8. IS8 has given you these steps. IS8 has given you these steps to follow it. Now, just I've already told you this. In SBR paper, there is an area in which you have to discuss for investor. And investor just don't look at PNL and SOFP, but more it looks for business model. Yes, Nowadays you have seen this, that the P&L and SOFP, financial reporting is always for past. We all know this. Financial accounting is always for past. So by just looking at the past income statement and SOFP, nobody can predict the future. So it's better you tell investors about your business model, that what's your plan for making money, what's the major plan for with this business to make money. So it's better you show the business model to them. So nowadays they are interested in business model as well. What's the plan of money making company has, or intangible, some of which may not be in SOFP. Yes, listen, internally generated goodwills and internally generated brands are not capitalized, they are not recorded in the financial statement, but yes, they give you benefit. If you have a brand, if you have internally generated goodwill, you will get more customers. But that but that goodwill is not recorded in your SOFP. So just think, those investors who solely rely on SOFP and PNL, they can't find the real performance of the company. So it's better nowadays company give the business model details and the plan, that how we are going to make money. Now, in question number 4, different accounting errors, their correct treatment and impact of their correction on different ratios. This is a routine thing in SBR. Yes, you know, in the last in the there are 4 questions. Normally in the question number 4, I have seen they just give you a question, and in that question they already solved wrong. There are some mistakes already there are some mistakes which are present already in that question. So you need to identify that mistake, you need to correct it, and then you need to compute additional ratios based on correct numbers. So this is also a routine question in SBR. Now, in your question, in your exam, now this is a professional paper, so that professional marks are also there. Professional marks are also there. So how to get the professional marks? It's for clarity and quality of discussion. That means the flow of sentence must be proper. Flow of sentence must be proper, right? Okay. Now, what I've written, see, put your feet in the examiner's shoe. Just think if you are talking about a certain thing and suddenly you change the topic, this is something unacceptable in routine discussion. So better when you start in real life, when we want a loan or when we want a favor from somebody, we start discussing things one by one, and then we finally go to the point. This is what the professional behavior, this is what the professional marks examiner is expecting. So just put your feet in the shoe of examiner and then think, so you can easily score the professional marks. Then give proper headings. you know just think, if there are five mark question, try to write the 5 main points. Try to write in 5 main points so that examiner can easily give you marks. Just think, be a marker and help him marking the paper. So if there are 5 marks question and there are 5 obvious points, write those 5 points clearly. You will easily get the marks. This is how we get it. Do calculation on one sheet, yes, and practical working on other. Give proper references, yes. For example, you need to there are sometime it happens that you have to do practical plus theory mix. So you need to do some working and then you give references there, right? Then, one reason for failure previously was poor layout and poor handwriting is the reason of failure. But now, luckily, now the SBR paper is CBE paper. Now there is no issue of handwriting. So previously, those students who used to get failed because of poor handwriting, so there is no handwriting. It's typing now. Okay. Now, but yes, layout is still there. layout formatting is still there. Good formatting gives you good marks, right? Okay. You should, for SBR paper, I must say that as this is 80-85% theory, so you need to read it a lot. You need to do reading a lot. You need to read real life journals, newspapers, published companies, financial statement to discuss things with respect to investors. Yes, if you the more you read practical stuff, the more you read practical stuff, the more the more you the more you will be able to deliver. If you read many things, so definitely things will settle in your mind that how you have to write. Okay. Read student accountant. Yes, this is ACCA magazine. Okay. And one very important thing for you guys, there is a presentation technique for theory based question. There is a presentation how to write SBR paper. So this is the rule. SAC. S is for state the rule, A is for apply the rule, and C is for conclusion. S is for state the rule, apply the rule, and conclusion. What does it mean? It means, for example, you get the question of IS 37. You get a practical question of IS 37. So first you, for example, it is related to restructuring provision. So first you need to write the IS, state the rule. First you need to write the restructuring provision conditions, that what is the definition of restructuring, what are the criteria of recognizing restructuring provision. Okay. So in SBR paper, first you need to write the IS, the rule, the wordings of standard, right? And then you have to apply the rule, then you have to do application and conclusion. Okay. So that's why, because of this state the rule, you earn free marks. State the rule is just learning. State the rule is just learning, copy paste of IS. So it's advisable, so listen students, it's advisable for all of you to make summaries of IS IFRS. So there are three steps: state the rule, apply the rule, and conclusion. State the rule, apply the rule, and finally you need to write the conclusion. Finally you need to write the conclusion. So if you follow this, you can easily score good marks, right? And you can easily earn marks. You can easily earn marks by writing the IS. See the state the rule. See this. In state the rule, you need to write relevant IS related to that question. But now listen, wait, one big, but strictly don't write irrelevant data in it. Just example of IFRS 15, if question requires one component of stage 5, just discuss that. For example, you know, in IFRS 15, there are 5 stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5. So, for example, in your question, examiner is just asking for stage 5 book revenue and one part of it. So, just write the state the rule for that part. Don't write the complete IFRS 15. You won't get any marks. Okay. So, just be very relevant, be very, very relevant, be very, very relevant. Okay. Now, finally, a good news. This is the good news. This is why the passing rate of this paper is high. And this is many trainers in the UK, everywhere they say this dialogue. Listen, in SBR, if you are right, you are right. If you know the right solution and you have written the right solution, you will get the marks. But if you are wrong, you may be right. If you have argument, then you will get marks. I repeat, wait. In SBR, if you are right, you are right. If you know the right solution, if you are writing the right solution, you will get the marks. But if you interpret, because the questions are difficult, if you interpreted the question wrongly and you wrote the wrong solution, still you will get the marks. If you have written the argument, if you have discussed this, why I am doing this, what, why, see this, why I am doing this, why we are writing this solution. If you write the logic, if you write the argument of your solution, that you will still get the marks. And that's what some trainers call it headroom. Now, one more good news. This headroom is available in ICAEW corporate reporting as well. What do you mean by headroom? Listen, let me tell you the meaning of headroom. For example, in ICAEW corporate reporting, if you are writing the solution, if you are writing the right solution, if you are writing the right solution, you will get the marks. But if you interpret, because the questions are difficult, if you interpret the question wrongly and you wrote the wrong solution, still you will get the marks. For example, The one meaning of headroom is, for example, you have a requirement in your question, in the question paper, and it is written 10 marks. The requirement number A is of 10 marks. For example, there is a requirement and that requirement is of 10 marks. So when examiner will, when your marker will start checking that question, marker will keep in mind the 14 marks. Marker will think that this is a 14 marks question. In reality, it's a 10 mark question. Okay, so for example, if you have done 4 marks wrong, you did 4 marks mistake, still you will get the complete 10 marks. This is a very big thing. I repeat, the marks written on the examination question is 10 marks. These are the maximum marks. Okay, 10 marks is the maximum. But your marker will start checking this question from 14 marks. And if you have done 4 marks wrong, still you will get full marks. So that means if you still do mistakes, you can clear. If you do mistakes, still you can clear. This is the first meaning of headroom. And the second meaning of headroom, by some examiner, by some trainers, they say multiple solutions allowed. Multiple solutions allowed. In SBR, it's not mandatory that your answer matches with the examiner solution, the marking scheme. Always no. You can write your own solution, but with the argument. So they give marks for multiple solution as well. Okay, that's why it's a practical paper. Now, finally, student, I would like to say that don't worry about this paper. If you are studying from me, I have a history. I have a big history of lot of students. I'm teaching in more than 40 countries plus. Okay, so don't worry about it. We'll make you cover the complete course. We'll make you practice different past paper question. Even I'll give you classes, many classes on drafting classes. Drafting means we'll teach you how to write. We'll make you the software practice, as this is a CB paper, so we'll give you the software practice as well. So don't worry about it. Just leave it on us. If you trust us, join us and we'll make you clear. Don't worry. Let me show you some of my position holder students. See, you can see there are world top, Pakistan top, Saudi top. See, so many of my online students, they scored positions from different part of the world, and my average passing rate normally exceeds 80%. So don't worry. If you follow the instruction, you will definitely get a pass. You will pass is nothing in SBR, right? Okay, so we welcome all of you, right? This is my number. Okay, you can contact me anytime on WhatsApp. You can also subscribe this channel for more updates. I am on Facebook as well. You can subscribe my page, right? And also our institute's page, Mirchawala's of Accountancy. Okay, so now goodbye and take care.